Morning everyone, my name is Audrey. I'm stitchywitch42 here on FlossTube and over on Instagram. This is my channel about cross-stitch, life, the universe, and everything. And there's been a lot going on the last couple of weeks. A lot of it is life stuff, but it's okay. I thought I would share some of that with you. But I want to start off this video by talking to you about Thing. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that Thing had an accident and required 2 surgeries. One was reconstructive and one was cosmetic. For the life of me, I cannot figure out how Thing got to where he was when he got hurt. I'm going to include a photo and show you my stitching area, which is right next to me over here. I have a little basket that's lower than the seat of my chair. It's a little bit lower than the seat of my chair. I usually have a TV tray standing on the left side of my chair, and that's where my quart jar's at and scissors and, accoutrement are sitting when I'm working. On the 30th of January, Colleen and Cheryl put up a video, one of their regular videos, and Cheryl was going to show off her mini Thing, the little Thing needle minder that several of us got at Acorns and Threads Acorn gatherings. That's a mouthful. Rumbling of trucks outside, road work. Anyway, Thing was excited about the fact that Cheryl was going to show her mini Thing on the video and wanted to sit up in my lap. So I picked him up from where he usually sits on the basket next to me, put him on my knee, and took a photo of Thing watching Colleen and Cheryl, their video. I put him back. The next evening, and I am confused. I don't know how he got to where he was. The next evening, I am sitting in my chair. It's the type of recliner that when you sit in it, you have to push back to get the back to move back and the footrest to come up. And to get out of it, you push down with your legs and close the footrest, and then it comes back to a regular chair position, and you get out. I was sitting there, I went to put the footrest down, and it wouldn't close. So I tried it a second time, and it wouldn't close, and I, for the life of me, couldn't figure out what was blocking it. So I tried a third time, only this time I was holding on to the arms of the chair, and I forcefully pushed my legs down, and it closed. And when I stood up, Thing was laying on the floor and he was missing his thumb. He was between the recliner and the footrest. I do not know how he got there. So that was the 31st of January. I was thinking that the next morning, being February 1st, and it's a first Thursday, that I would get up in the morning, I would come downstairs, I would do Thing's first surgery, and then I would do his second surgery when I got back from Acorns and Threads. Mark had gotten called into work, so he was downstairs when I came down. I had the Gorilla Glue. We did reconstructive surgery. It was a nice fit. He was up on all 5 digits right away. Mark leaves the house. It's still early. I have my breakfast, and there's a knock at the front door at 7:30 in the morning. It was one of the guys from the road crew to let me know that they would be working on the road right in front of our house all day long, and that I would have very limited access in or out of my driveway. And I asked him, I said, well, I'm planning on leaving about 9 to go somewhere. And they go, well, yeah, you might not be able to get out. So my plans to go to Acorns and Threads, blown out of the water. That's okay. I have things to do around the house. I came inside, I did some stitching. I went upstairs and I worked on a paper crafting project that I'm working on that I'll talk about more a little bit later. And I also did things second reconstructive surgery, or second cosmetic surgery. I took him upstairs and we painted a new scar. So here is Thing. He is back together. He is looking wonderful. He has a new scar here where his thumb came off. And then we also went and added a little Halloween decoration to Thing because he wanted to look spiffy for this upcoming holiday. And he has been sitting quite happily on the sideboard now. We've had a discussion that if he wants to sit in my lap and watch any videos, he needs to ask for my assistance instead of climbing into the chair by himself. I have no idea how he got down there. Where the basket is at, I guess he could have gotten knocked over, but nothing else on the basket was knocked over. It doesn't make sense. I'm confused, and he's not telling me. I think he's feeling guilty. But anyway, I didn't go to Acorns and Threads. I sent Mark a text and I told him that the guys were working on the road in front of the house and he might not be able to get back into the driveway. And sure enough, when he got home, he parked across the street and around the corner. So when I saw that the guys were wrapping up Thursday night, I went out and I asked them, I said, what time are you going to get started tomorrow? Because where they stopped their road work is right between our neighbors to the north and our driveway. And they said 7:30. And I said, I need to leave at 8:30 to get to work. Am I going to get out? And they said, probably not. So I came inside and I told Mark, I said, I'm going to call out for tomorrow because they're going to be working in front of the house. And he gets this exasperated look on his face, like I'm doing something to him personally because I wanted to call out. He goes, I'll drive you to work. My car is parked across the street. I'll get you there. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the next morning, I'm lying in bed. My alarm has not gone off yet. And Mark goes, are you awake? I am now. He goes, let's get up and get ready and leave the house before they get started and go out and have breakfast. Okay. So again, I got up, I got ready, I come downstairs, Mark comes downstairs. I made him put his socks and shoes on right away. Normally in the morning, way too much information here, I know. Normally in the morning he goes and sits in his office, no socks, no shoes, and then when he has to leave, he comes out and it takes him several minutes to get them put on. And I thought, no, we're on a time crunch this morning. Get your socks and shoes on first. So he did. We're going about our business. We figure if we left the house just a few minutes before 7:30, we would be good to go. I hear the rumble of the first truck going by at 7:20. I say something to Mark and he goes, yep. He goes, let's go. I grabbed the last few things that I needed to get together for work. We walked out of our house at 7:25 and they had their equipment truck parked at the end of my driveway. Most days, their equipment truck is parked right out in front of my house. It's parked out right in front of my house today. That morning, They're blocking the end of my driveway. So I got their attention. They moved the truck. We got out. We went and had breakfast. Mark dropped me off at the store. I texted him a little while later. I said, so where did you park my car? And he goes, oh, I pulled right back into the driveway. They told me I wasn't going to be able to get in and out. I'm tired of this. Mark came and picked me up, but this time he was in his truck. And I said, okay, we have a stop to make before we go home. I need to go over to the frame shop because Molly from Silverton Art and Frame had sent me a text and said Halloween balcony was ready. And if you've been paying attention, you've seen it sitting back here. Now you get to see it up close and personal. This is gorgeous. So there you are. This is Halloween balcony. And she did a fantastic job of finishing it. Do you see the detail work on the frame? It reminds me of a wrought iron fence, which I thought would be perfect for this piece. We were talking about this, and I was telling her how this piece required a lot of backstitching in it to bring out the details. And I said, like the pumpkin down here. This one down here, I thought it was a pumpkin with Elvis hair. It's a pumpkin with a cat draped over it. And I showed her some of the other details that were in here, and it's just absolutely stunning. And I love, love, love the way this was finished. When I showed it to Mark, I had her put the non-glare glass on it this time. He said it almost makes it look three-dimensional. And when you're up close and you're looking at it, I see where he gets that. But I'm really, really tickled to have that back now, and it's going to stay out for a while because it's so pretty. So pretty. Okay. Sunday, our son Philip came down. He was going to be helping his dad do some work on the Jeep. They've got the canopy on top of the Jeep. Now he's doing a bunch of wiring in there because various things have stopped working and he can't figure out why. So I'm really hoping that, because his shop is right on the other side of this wall back here, I'm really hoping that we don't hear any cursing coming from out there because he has been getting really frustrated. But while Philip was here Sunday, I asked the two of them to do me a favor. Because of the road work, we lost 3 feet of our front flower bed, and they put a new fence in for us. Well, being now that it's not spring, but bulbs are coming up here in Oregon, I could see that my snowdrops were coming up and some of my daffodils and some of my tulips on the outside of the fence. And I figured if I had the two of them here, I could get them to dig up those bulbs for me. Because when they're done, anything that's growing out there will be gone. And there's other stuff out there that I don't care about. But I figured if I could save the daffodils and the tulips and the snowdrops. Yeah, snowdrops. You know, that gives me a start on redoing the inside of my flower beds. My yard looks like crap right now. There are weeds and little green things sprouting all over the place. There's the plants that I don't want to have growing out there. And this spring, summer, there will be a lot of things being moved around outside. But I will be retired come the end of April, so maybe I can get out there and get some things done the way I want them to be. Speaking of retiring, I've applied for Medicare. I've called my union and got the paperwork to get my pension started. I called to find out about supplemental insurance and was really surprised at what coverage I'm going to get. I get to keep my same insurance, and it's not going to cost me anything. It's going to cost for Mark, but not much more than what I currently pay for him, so that's a bonus. So my official retirement date is April 27th. My birthday is April 29th. It's the present I'm giving myself. Now that you have those two dates, send me cards. I'd like them. You don't have to, but you know, if you did, I'd be happy. Happy mail. It's good. I have been working on 2 projects almost exclusively the last 2 weeks. The first one was from Acorns and Threads, Acorn Gathering. It is the pattern that was designed by Fox and Rabbit, and it's called A Gathering of Acorns. And it has a house. Seriously, stitching houses is just boring as far as I'm concerned. But I really need to get over it because I'm slowly getting it done. I'm kind of at the point where there's just a little bit of fill-in left on the house. But I don't want to do it anymore. I'll get over myself. I don't remember exactly which person up at Acorn Gatherings gave me the idea of giving this an Addams Family vibe, but I'm going with it. I decided that instead of stitching the woman in a blue dress, I was going to make her look more like Wednesday and her Evermore outfit. Instead of the squirrel, I want to stitch a thing. I've used my little Acorns and Threads graft notebook to graft it out. How it's going to look, I don't know. But this is where I'm at. And you can see I really don't have much of the house left at all. But what I decided to do was I'm using the Muddy Puddle for the house itself because I wanted it to look more decrepit. I used Ship's Manor Witch's Knickers, which is this lovely variegated purple for the door, because purple door in 2024. I talked with Philip about painting our front door purple. I started stitching the basket up here. Oh, the roof. The roof I've been playing with. The roof was charted to be the same color as the window frames. I decided that I was going to use a single strand of black because I'm stitching 1/2, and I stitched the outline of the roof and got bored. So then I took the black coffee, the window frame color, and I stitched a line through there to give it some variation. And that looked good, but when I was stitching it, you couldn't really see all that much. So then I'm going through and I'm stitching it in various places where I stitched in here. I stitched 2/2 with the black, and there are a couple spots in there where it's just a single half stitch, again, to make it look decrepit. And this is the close-up of Wednesday with her black and purple dress. The woman in the pattern has a hat on. I didn't put the hat on her. I did add an extra stitch, and I did stitch her shoes 2/1 or 2/2 to make them. Wednesday wears the, what are they, Doc Martens? The heavy clunky shoes, trying to make her look more like that, and then the little thing will go over here. On this side there is it's a basket full of acorns. I'm going to stitch a basket full of skulls. Addams Family-esque. And then someone suggested to me that instead of stitching the acorns up here, I should stitch the bats up there, some bats up there. I'm going to leave the acorns, but where the little diamond-shaped ones are, I think that's where I'm going to put some bats. So I could actually count this as one of my 24 bats in 2024 projects. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But I'm having fun with it. Stitching the house, there's not that much more to do. It's boring, people. It's boring. Those of you who love stitching all the houses, go for it. Just go for it. Yeah. I've stitched Hogwarts Castle. I've stitched Stonehenge. But houses, they make my brain twitch. We've talked about my brain twitching. Okay, my 24 bats in 2024. So I started that hashtag on Instagram, and I really don't know anything about hashtags, but it's driving me a little bit crazy because the first picture that I posted using that hashtag, when I went and searched for that hashtag, nothing was there. In fact, I don't think my first photo showed up for a couple of days. And since then, I think I'm now up to having 6 people who are playing along with me. And they've all tagged me using hashtag 24bats in 2024 and then tagging me at stitchywitch42. And some of those photos don't show up when you go and search that hashtag. I don't get it. Linda sent me a private message through Facebook. She had posted 2 photos and tagged me. I hadn't seen either one of them. So when I went back to Instagram, I realized that while she was following me, I wasn't following her. So maybe that's why the ones that the tagging me, I didn't see it because I wasn't following her. I'm now following her. She accepted me as a friend. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. But I've noticed since then, those pictures still haven't shown up if you search the hashtag 24bats in 2024. And one other lady posted a photo that hasn't shown up there. But I've seen her photo. I'm still doing it. I'm still playing the game. The one I am currently working on is Heart and Hand. I've got all the flosses in here. I don't want to drop them. This is Halloween Doodles. And I keep thinking, I'm so close to finishing this. I'm so close to finishing it. And then I'm realizing how many stitches are in this silly thing. And I still think I'm close to finishing it, but there's so many stitches in this thing. So here I am, Frank, who I'm no longer calling Frank, but I am referring to as Ferret Face because he ticked me off, had to be restitched because, through no fault of his own, Ferret Face, I stitched him 2 stitches over, which was okay. I shortened up the skeleton's foot, but it would have put his hand in the cauldron. So yesterday morning I unpicked all of Ferret Face and restitched him. I am working on this pumpkin and this pumpkin, and then I have to finish Ferret Face. And then I think I'm done with this. But I think this is so, so cute. I am stitching it on some of the unknown even weave that I got from Cheryl. I have been keeping it, as well as all my other projects, in the project bag that I got to steal from Cheryl up at Mountain Stitchers. I didn't get to go to that on Sunday. They'd scheduled to do that, but my son was coming down, and seeing him was, you know, the priority. And getting flowers. If I'd told them what to pick to dig up out there, they would have done it wrong. I had to be there. But I am keeping all my other projects in this project roll, again, made by Cheryl. So, this one is my 4th project. This is project number 3. It says hang in there, and I'm calling this my Halloween bat, or my Halloween bat. I'm not sure. I think it is really, really cute. These are not the called for colors. They were the colors that I chose according to what the called for ones were. And it's kind of hard to read, but it does say hang in there. And he is just so stinking cute. That was project number 3. This was project number 2. This is Cauldron and Bats, which I showed on my last video, and this was project number 1, a freebie from Doreen Jones. So, I finally went upstairs yesterday. Just trying to be so nice, and they fell on the ground. I finally went upstairs yesterday and cut apart that great big piece of even weave that I've been stitching, that I'm stitching the current one on, and this one and the second one on, because it was just too bulky to keep moving around in my little Q-snap. So, project number 4 is almost done. Alright, hold on just a moment. The last thing that I want to share with you is what I've been doing with my Alphonse Mucha. In my last video, or the one before, in a recent video, I talked about the fact that when I had moved her in the scroll frame, I realized that I was really, really close to the edge of my aida, and I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough to finish stitching her, or if I would be too close to the border. I talked with Molly at Silverton Art and Frame, and she said that as long as she had 3 good edges, she could work with anything. But it was bothering me that it was going to be so close to the edge of the fabric that I ordered another piece of Charles Craft Aida from Amazon, and it arrived some point in the week. Yesterday morning, I tried to record a video of me adding fabric onto it, and if any of it is usable, I might show it at the end. If not, I will add some pictures that I posted on Instagram, individual pictures. But what I did is I took it completely out of the frame, and you can see where I'm stitching at. I recounted how many rows there were between this line here, which is the bottom of the row up above, and the bottom of the stitching. This pin down here designates where the bottom of the stitching is, and you can see right here is the edge of the fabric. 4 rows. 4 rows. So I was thinking about this, and I thought, well, I could sew a piece of cotton on, and that probably would have been the simplest. But again, there's only 4 rows of Aida there, and I'm just like, I didn't like that option. So what I did is I cut a piece of the Charles Craft Aida, which is not as wide as this, but that's okay because here and here are the edges of the stitching, so there's plenty extra space down here on either side here. And what I did is I came up about 15, maybe 20 rows on the back. And all I did is a simple running stitch here, 2 rows down from the top of this piece, and then 4 rows from the bottom of this piece. And I made sure to line up the holes as I did that. Someone asked me a question about whether or not that would be a problem when I'm stitching. I won't know for sure until I get there, but I did my best to line up all my stitches as I was doing it. And all I did was a simple running stitch or a ladder stitch. As I would stitch back and forth, I'd pull it together, and I did that all the way across. There is no knots. I've left the strings hanging on the back from where I did it. Those will just be sewn over. I used ecru floss to have it blend with this. I thought about using a darker colored floss, but if you look at the stitching here, there is so many light colors in there. I was afraid that if I used a dark color that it might show through, and I didn't want that. So while stitching ecru colored Aida with ecru colored floss was a pain in the butt, I did it. I think it's going to work. My goal for this now is that I am going to start stitching on it every morning. I'm going to aim for half an hour to an hour's worth of work. There are 8 pages left of this project, and I would like to get her done this year, especially because I've added this fabric down there and I don't know how it's going to go. I know it's going to be fiddly when I get there. There should only be maybe 5 to 7 rows that are doubled. We'll see how that goes. Would you like to see her while I have her out of the frame? Would you like to see all of her? There she is. I think she is gorgeous. Of course, I think all of Alphonse Mucha's artwork is gorgeous. I made the comment that I had given one of them away because I didn't know where it would hang in my house. When I stitched my first one, I knew she was going right over there by the front door because that was the best place for her. When this one gets stitched, or is done being stitched, I'm going to take this one down to Silverton Art and Frames with that one, try to get a complementary frame and matting done. They don't have to be the same as far as I'm concerned, but the 2 of them will then hang on either side of these shelves I have here. So I know where they're going, which means I'm going to have a free space over there. I don't know what's going to go there yet. I may fill it with some smaller pieces. I may have to find Alphonse Mucha number 5. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. So, once again, I forgot to bring down a giveaway. So I'm going to make myself have a time limit. I'm going to get my button gear. I got to get this one finished. And as soon as it's done, I will have no need for the pattern. So we'll put this one up as a giveaway. Please like and subscribe to my videos. Please be a publicly subscribed subscriber, because I do check that. Because it's just this, I will mail it anywhere. Don't say giveaway or any of the things that you're not supposed to say. Please be 18 or older so you can give me your home address. Halloween. If you're interested in this one, Halloween. I think that I have covered everything that I need to talk about this week. Oh, I wanted to tell you about the projects that I'm working on upstairs, my paper crafting projects. And I wanted to ask if you would be interested in a video seeing how I'm creating them. I am retiring the end of April. I've been at this store, well, when I retire, I will have been at this store for 2.5 years. And I was thinking I wanted to do something to show some of these people how much I appreciate that they've taken care of me while I've fallen apart this past year. And I kept thinking about that, and I finally decided that there are 6 women that I work with most closely. So I decided that I would make for them a folio style journal. I use a manila envelope as the base for it. And then I grabbed 6 paper bags from the store, and I'm going to use those to cover the journals. I've got 4 of them covered right now. 2 of them still need to be covered. So I was thinking if you were interested, I could do a separate video showing you what I'm doing, working on that, and a couple of the ideas that I have for things to go in there. I've been collecting things from the store. I got a photo of each of these ladies, and I made specimen cards out of them. I have been collecting some of the coin wrappers from the coins that we have at the store and using those for die cuts. I have managed to get copies of receipts with each of these 6 ladies' name on them, because on our receipts it says, your cashier today was da 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 da. And I'm going to try and personalize each one of these, kind of sorta, for them, but make them all similar. Anyway, if I work on those, I don't cross stitch because I'm working with inks, and while the inks are water soluble, I still worry about having any residue on my hands and coming down and stitching and getting it onto my fabrics. So there's that. If you're interested in me doing a video and sharing with you what I'm creating, let me know. But yeah, it's kind of fun playing with it and trying to figure out what all I can do. I've been watching a bunch of journaling videos, and I've gotten a couple of ideas that I want to try to implement. So my goal is to keep stitching, keep working on those projects, try not to be too frustrated by the road work outside. It's life, people. And count down my days until I retire. Until we meet again, my friends, live long and stitch on. Bye-bye. So I have my camera set up on the tripod so you have an overhead view. I took page 21 and 26 and I counted how many stitches are on each page, and I'm hoping that I have this in frame because I can't see anything right now. Anyway, 56 rows on this page and another 49 rows on this page for a total of 105 rows to finish my stitch. And what I am doing right now is I am simply taking pins and I am counting down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spaces, marking it so I can see how many rows I have left on this piece of cloth. I'm going to leave the camera running. I'm going to cut the boring bits out, piece this together, but I got to do a lot of counting right now, and in my head is better than out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 100 stitches right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 extra rows. I would not need to add fabric onto this. But I want to make sure that she has, my framer has enough room to do this. And I already see that I've got some fraying going on down here on the bottom. So I am going to go ahead and I am going to add another piece of my Charles Craft Aida here to the back of this one, simply for my own benefit. Okay, so I decided I'm going to try to come up about the same level as this red pen here, which is row 100. And all I'm going to do, and who knows if this is going to work or not, but it's an experiment, and if it helps somebody else, I am good with that. I am going to start on my top here, match up a hole underneath. I'm just going to do a running stitch back and forth. We'll see how well this works. It may drive me nuts, but I'm going to do what I have to save my piece. When I was talking with my framer, okay, why is this so difficult? Find the hole, Audrey. When I was talking with my framer, she said that as long as I have 3 good edges for her to work with, that she would be able to frame my piece no problem. I think it would drive me crazy if the bottom of my piece was not taut too. So this is a really difficult way to do this, or to sit here and see anything. So basically what I'm doing is I am doing a running stitch. I'm going through the holes in both the top and the bottom piece of Aida. I've got them lined up. I'm going to turn my camera off and I'm going to work on this so that I can see it, and I will come back and I will show you what I've gotten done with it, and we'll go from there. Well, it took me a couple of minutes of frustration trying to add on this extra piece of Aida here to the bottom of my project, and I realized I needed to cut off all the long length of the extra piece that I had purchased. And I have found that with my magnifier here, and the funny thing is I'm using the magnifier for the light, not to actually see anything. If I leave enough thread in between, I can go back and I can weave this from one to the other and get a fairly straight line, because it's Aida. And I'm going to go across and do the whole thing, and then I will trim the extra on the back because I overlapped it quite a bit here, so I will cut off the little extra there. And I think I will leave the front layer, the one that I'm actually stitching on, as it is, and that way I can stitch all the way down to the end, which is where this green pin is at. It is going to be overlapped a little bit. Again, I'm doing this for my peace of mind. I'm just hoping that when I get down to stitching that part going between the 2 layers, won't be too difficult. We'll find out. I'll be talking about it on my upcoming videos. And when I get done with doing this, see, I didn't get it in the right hole there. When I get done with doing this, nope, we're just taking that out completely. I will show you all of my Alphonse Mucha. So pause for a moment. I'm about halfway done. It's not taking very long, but this is really rather fiddly going back and forth between the two layers. I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping myself to a straight line. I caught myself almost right at the beginning having the back line straight, but not the front line. That would have been an issue. There would have been all sorts of words said. But simply going back and forth, just doing a running stitch. I took a photo with my cell phone, and I will try to insert that about here so you can see between the two pieces of fabric. I'm using ecru thread because it blends in. You can't see it on the Aida itself, and I thought about using a darker color, but I was afraid because there is so much color variation going through my Alphonse Mucha that you might actually see it, whereas the ecru excuse me, blends in, and I don't think it will be as visible. Now on the back I have overlapped it more. There's only about 5 rows from where I'm stitching to the front piece of Aida. On the back it's probably about 10 rows. I think I'm going to leave that because I know I have a nice straight edge here, and so I will be stitching through 2 layers of fabric. And again, I'm doing this for my peace of mind. Molly said that she can frame with, as long as I've got 3 good edges, that she could frame it. But as close as it was, I'm doing this for my peace of mind. I've spent almost 4 full years working on her, and I need to take care of her. So I'm going to pause again. When I come back, I will have this all stitched together. Okay, I'm hoping that I'm still on the screen here. I've got the 2 pieces stitched together. The bottom edge down here, if you can see, is a little bit uneven. The hardest part of stitching the 2 of them together was all the unraveling, so I finally pulled it all off to the side. Got that out of the way, and then, like I said, I just did a simple running stitch from one side to the other. When I started the next one, I started it back here, right here in the center, and continued it on, just making sure that I stayed in a straight line. And now I think this is ready to go back on my frame. I'm going to share this on my next update video, and hopefully this will work. And that's what I'm kind of doing to resolve my issue of not having enough Aida to stitch my whole piece. Because like I said, right about where I stitched at would have been the end of my stitching. This is going to give me a little bit more room. It's going to overlap about 10 rows, and I think that'll be a good thing. It'll just make sure that my framer has enough to work with when it comes time to frame my Alphonse Mucha.